There's something very interesting in the book of Isaiah. In the book of Isaiah, there's a servant picture in 4 different chapters. It's really cool. This servant picture moves through as you begin in like 48 maybe, and then it goes in, you get 49, 50, 52, 53. You start seeing a picture of someone, and the word Messiah is never used. So you have Messiah being talked about in Psalm 2. Messiah is being talked about almost throughout the Psalms, really. You have him talked about in Zechariah. You have him talked about in the Pentateuch, the first 5 books. But in Isaiah, in the second half, he's not mentioned. He's called a servant. What do you think the role of the servant is? To serve. Right? So, Charles Swindoll did one I love. He said, if you really think you're a servant, see how you act when people treat you like one. Right? So as you look in Isaiah and you see this picture of what's called the Lord's anointed, his Holy One, and you start being portrayed as a servant, what do you think's happening? You know, this is one of the conflicts a lot of non-believers have. Is, wait a minute, you guys, you claim a Trinity and they're all equal. How can one be subordinate? Think about that. He's called Anointed One. He's from times past. In Micah 5:2, when it talks about where he's going to be born, from times of old, from everlasting. And then all of a sudden, though, he becomes a servant. Now, what do you usually think of when you think of a master-servant relationship? Are they equal?
No.
Right. So we have a situation here all of a sudden where you have a non-created being, one from eternity, who's a servant to Yahweh. Now, when the Jews looked at this, they didn't think of the Trinity, obviously. They're thinking of Yahweh. They're thinking of Adam and Eve. They're thinking of Elohim. They're thinking of this one God. We know as we go through the books, we see, though, like in Genesis, let us make man in our image, right? We start seeing all these implications and references to God being more than one. And then you get in Isaiah, and all of a sudden, this God who's equal with the Father is a servant. Why is he a servant, do you think?
To teach us to serve.
That's a good point. Now, when you read the Gospels, Jesus is always saying something all the time. My Father sent me. I mean, it's like nonstop, right? My Father sent me. Well, he's telling you he didn't come on his own. I mean, I don't think he's in heaven with his dad going, hey, I got a great idea. Dad, listen to this. I'm going to let him beat me mercilessly, pull up my beard, and hang me on a cross. What do you think of that, right? That's not what's happening. What's happening is, when we talked about this in Isaiah before, the Father has a plan that the Son agrees to. And as being equal with his Father, he agrees to lower himself.